The moment you stop taking rejection personally is the moment you become dangerous. Welcome to the Soft Girl Era podcast, the sacred space where strong Black women unlearn survival, rediscover softness, and reclaim the joy, rest, and freedom they deserve without guilt, without apology, and without explanation. I'm your host, LeAnne Dolce, pronounced Dolce, like sweet softness whispered in French. And I'm your guide from burnout to boundaries, from doing to being, from strong to soft, and loving every second of it. Today, I had the profound honor of sitting down with Mia Idowu, a woman whose work is reshaping how we understand rejection, resilience, and self worth. Mia is making the world a better place by giving Black professionals, creatives, and leaders permission to stop internalizing every no as proof they are not enough. She's teaching us that rejection is not a diagnosis, it's data. And that shift, that one reframe, can change everything. So let's sit in this truth together. Let's talk about what it means to stop taking rejection personally in career, in love, in family, and learn to thrive nonetheless. Here's what I need you to hear, and I mean really hear. Rejection is about preference, not your value. When someone doesn't hire you, doesn't love you back, doesn't show up as family, that decision is rooted in their needs, their taste, their trauma, their limitations, their timing. It is not some universal judgment that you are unworthy. Research on job search and repeated rejection emphasizes that setbacks are often about fit, timing, and organizational needs, not an individual's inherent abilities or value. But we don't feel that way, do we? We feel like every no is a mirror held up to our face, whispering, "You're not good enough." And that's the lie we're dismantling today. Let me tell you about a Black woman screenwriter who refused to let Hollywood's no define her. She wrote stories about Black women that were joyful, quirky, romantic. She centered Black women as love interests, soft, playful, fully human. And the industry kept rejecting her. Not because her writing wasn't good, not because her characters weren't compelling, but because her stories didn't fit their preferred trauma heavy narrative of Black womanhood. They wanted pain, she offered joy, and they said no over and over and over again. She could have internalized that. She could have believed that her vision was wrong, that she needed to write what they wanted, that her voice didn't matter. But she didn't. She consciously rejected the trauma narrative as the only valid way to portray Black women. She reframed every rejection as feedback on their preferences, not on her value. And she kept creating, kept pitching, kept speaking publicly about her stance. For years, mainstream media has prioritized stories of Black women rooted in trauma, struggle, and survival. This writer noticed that when she centered Black women as quirky love interests, soft, playful, and fully human, she was met with resistance. Instead of internalizing those rejections as proof that her ideas were wrong, she named the pattern for what it was, a preference rooted in systemic bias. That clarity allowed her to protect her creative self esteem. By staying true to her vision, she began building an audience that was hungry for representations of Black women beyond pain and suffering. Her stance contributed to a broader conversation about the importance of diverse, affirming portrayals of Black women in media. She showed us that you can be fully yourself, even when industry gatekeepers say no. Her experience shines a light on how not taking rejection personally can protect creative freedom for Black women and Black storytellers. It reminds us that gatekeepers know often says more about their comfort zones than your brilliance. For Black professionals and creatives, this is a blueprint. Keep your voice. Even when the system says we don't want that kind of Black story, that's the blueprint. Keep your voice. Even when the system says we don't want that kind of Black story. Now, let's talk about career rejection because I know some of you are in it right now. You've sent out application after application. You've nailed interviews, or at least you thought you did. And then silence. Or worse, the polite rejection email that feels like a punch to the gut. There was a Black professional who shared their struggle with repeated job rejections in an online community discussion focused on motivation and mental health in the job search. Multiple job applications and interviews ended in rejection or silence, creating frustration and self doubt. The emotional weight of no began to feel personal, as though each rejection was proof of inadequacy, which is a common experience for Black professionals facing systemic barriers. The post emerged in a space dedicated to helping people cope with the emotional toll of job hunting. Many participants, including Black professionals, talked about how repeated rejection can trigger feelings of invisibility or undervaluation. Instead of dismissing those feelings, the group validated them and then offered concrete tools to keep going without internalizing the no as proof of unworthiness. Community members and experts offered practical strategies, reframe rejection as a normal part of the process, not a personal failure. Focus on learning from each rejection, improving the resume, interview skills, and networking instead of shrinking in shame. Lean on supportive networks and affirmations that emphasize intrinsic worth beyond job titles. The job seeker began to view each no as one step closer to the right yes, preserving their motivation and mental health. The discussion reinforced that adaptability, continuous learning, and a growth mindset can transform rejection into career resilience. The job seeker remained in the process rather than withdrawing, continuing to apply and interview. The community reframed the narrative from I'm being rejected because I'm not good enough to I'm facing rejection because the process is imperfect, but I still have value. This demonstrates to Black professionals that career rejection is a systemic and situational reality, not a reflection of your spiritual or personal worth. You can hold your head up high, even with a string of no's, and keep fighting until you win. Because giving up is choosing death. And that's not a choice that will be made by you. Only the Most High knows when life ends for us. Let me share one more story with you because this one hits different. There was a professional who spoke candidly about being rejected a lot throughout their career and how that experience transformed them into a hell of a salesman and networker precisely because they stopped fearing rejection. Frequent rejection in professional settings, likely in sales, pitching, or business development, could have broken them. The initial instinct was to view each no as personal, triggering embarrassment, discouragement, or hesitation to reach out again. But they deliberately stopped taking rejection personally, recognizing that a no often reflects budget, timing, priorities, or fit, not a judgment on their character. They treated every rejection as a repetition drill. Each no was practice in refining their pitch and strengthening their emotional resilience. In many fields, especially sales and entrepreneurship, um, rejection is routine. This professional leaned into that reality, allowing the volume of no's to desensitize them to the emotional sting. Instead of reading rejection as I'm not good enough, they saw it as this wasn't the right match and kept knocking on new doors. Over time, they became highly effective at sales and networking, largely because they were no longer afraid of hearing no. They built a strong sales and networking skill set rooted in confidence and persistence. They developed a public message encouraging others to love rejection as part of growth instead of hiding from opportunities out of fear. Their message: the moment you stop taking rejection personally is the moment you become dangerous. That's the truth. When your self worth is no longer tied to other people's responses, you become unstoppable. For Black entrepreneurs and business leaders, this is powerful. It reframes rejection from something to avoid into a tool that sharpens your voice, your pitch, and your faith. You're not for everyone, and that's not a bad thing. In fact, it can make you unstoppable. So let's talk about what Mia Idowu wants you to remember from our conversation on the Soft Girl Era podcast. 3 things. Write them down, tattoo them on your heart. First, rejection is about preference, not your value. When someone doesn't hire you, doesn't love you back, doesn't show up as family, that decision is rooted in their needs, tastes, trauma, limitations, or timing, not in some universal judgment that you're unworthy. Second, you are not for everyone, and that's a good thing. Being not for everyone is part of being authentic and divinely designed. The right employer, partner, community, or audience will see you clearly and choose you willingly. Many Black professionals and creatives talk about facing constant rejection because they insisted on telling truthful, specific stories, especially about Black women, and still kept going until the right platforms embraced them. Third, let rejection refine you, not define you. Rejection can be a training ground, sharpening your skills, deepening your self love, and clarifying where you truly belong. Career guidance for job seekers shows that those who adopt a growth mindset, continuously learn, and adapt after rejection ultimately land better fitting opportunities. The same principle applies to love and family. What doesn't choose you can teach you more about what should. Now, here's what I want you to do differently after listening to this episode of the Soft Girl Era podcast. I want you to treat every rejection as data, not a diagnosis. When you're rejected in career, love, or family this week, instead of asking, "What's wrong with me?" ask, "What did this person or situation show me about their preferences? And what does that teach me about where I truly belong?" Write down one thing you learned and one thing you appreciate about yourself that the rejection does not change. Over time, this practice trains your mind and spirit to separate your self worth from other people's choices so you can keep your head high, keep loving yourself, and keep moving toward the spaces, people, and opportunities that are truly for you. And that's the energy I want you to carry. That's the softness I want you to embrace. You can be soft and still be strong. You can be vulnerable and still be powerful. You can be rejected and still be worthy. During this conversation with Mia Idowu on the Soft Girl Era podcast, I want you to feel seen, especially those who face foster care, family estrangement, romantic disappointment, or career setbacks. And we're told to just be strong without being given space to be soft. I want you to feel held and safe, like you can exhale, admit that hurt, and still know that the hurt doesn't define you. I want you to feel stirred, a gentle fire in your chest that says, "I'm still here, I'm still worthy, I'm still fighting." After this episode, I want you to feel lightened, as if a heavy cloak of shame around rejection has been lifted. I want you to feel empowered, ready to walk back into boardrooms, studios, dating, or healing conversations with your chin up. Knowing rejection is not the final word. I want you to feel hopeful, believing, like Mia Idowu does, that the best is yet to come, even when desired things like love or children haven't arrived yet. You are not for everyone, and that is not a bad thing. You are still valuable. You are still worthy of love, success, and belonging, no matter who has said no to you. So here's my challenge to you, and I want you to really sit with this. Stop carrying the weight of other people's no like it's a verdict on your soul. It's not. It's information, it's redirection, it's refinement. And sometimes it's protection. The next time someone tells you no, the next time a door closes in your face, the next time you feel the sting of rejection, I want you to pause, take a breath, and ask yourself, what is this teaching me about where I belong? What is this showing me about what I deserve? What is this revealing about the kind of spaces, people, and opportunities that are truly aligned with who I am? Because here's the truth: every no that feels like a rejection is actually a redirection towards something better. Every closed door is protecting you from a room you were never meant to sit in. Every person who walks away is making space for the ones who will stay. You are not broken because someone didn't choose you. You are not less than because someone didn't see your value. You are not unworthy because someone couldn't love you the way you deserved. Their no is not about you, it's about them. It's about their capacity, their vision, their limitations, their fears. And you are limitless. So I want you to walk out of here today, or turn off this podcast today, with your head held high. I want you to look rejection in the face and say, "You don't define me." I want you to step into every room, every interview, every relationship, every opportunity, knowing that you are enough exactly as you are. And when the right people, the right opportunities, the right love finds you, and you'll know it was worth the wait. You'll know that every no was just clearing the path for the yes that was always meant for you. So stop shrinking, stop doubting, stop carrying shame that was never yours to carry. You are not for everyone, and that is your superpower. That is your freedom. That is your permission to be fully, unapologetically, beautifully you. Now go be soft, go be strong, go be dangerous, go be free.